Welcome to First Parish in Needham, Unitarian Universalist. My name is Katie Robbins, and I'm here with Andrew Barnett. First Parish is a Unitarian Universalist congregation founded in 1711 along with the town of Needham. We are proud to be certified as a welcoming congregation for our inclusivity of people of all sexual orientations and gender identities and expressions, as a grand sanctuary for our commitment to addressing the climate crisis, and as a Level 2 sanctuary supporting congregation for our work in immigration reform and anti-deportation efforts. Whether you are a first-time visitor or a lifelong member, you can learn more about all that's happening at First Parish by going to our website, uuneedham.org, or following us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. As you know, what's happening right now at the congregation is very different than usual because of the COVID-19 coronavirus pandemic. Our building is closed and we are gathering online only. Our youth have worked creatively to share a meaningful version of our beloved annual Youth Sunday service for you today. Our First Parish community has become innovative about how we stay in touch and renew our spirits without meeting in person, and we hope you have been plugging in to our Zoom gathering opportunities throughout the week. For example, you are invited to our Zoom social hour directly following this worship service that will include the chance to meet our youth in person. Please find the link in your Saturday Bell Notes email. If you're joining us for the first time this Sunday, or you don't know what we're talking about when we refer to the Saturday Bell Notes or the emailed order of service, you can sign up to be included in those emails next week by going to our website, uuneedham.org, and clicking Get Involved Newsletter, or send your request by email to office@uuneedham.org.
We know that this way of worshiping and gathering together is an adjustment for all of us. However, our sincere hope and prayer is that these online services and connection opportunities will help keep us the physical distance required during this coronavirus pandemic without losing much of the spiritual, emotional, and social closeness we treasure as a faith. We share these adapted opening words with you by Andrew Pakula. We arrive together here, travelers on life's journey, seekers of meaning, of love, of healing, of justice, of truth. Numerous are our origins, our paths, and our destinations, and yet, happily, our ways have joined together here today. Spirit of life, source of love, may our joining be a blessing. May it bring comfort to those who are in pain. May it bring wisdom and guidance for our journeys. May we embrace this in every instance of our lives. Welcome. We are so happy you chose to join us today.
We share these adapted words by Martha Kirby Capo. Today we come together as a community of faith. Our individual energies combine to spark the flame of truth. May we each draw strength from and for each other. And like the chalice, may we be many sparks in the fire of commitment to social justice, equity, and peace.
Please rise in body or in spirit and join us in singing hymn number 361, Enter, Rejoice, and Come In. The words are in your emailed order of service and on the screen.
Today will be a joyful day, and Please now join with us in saying the words of this congregation's covenant, the promises we make to each other and to the world.
You will find the words in your order of service in Saturday's bell notes. We gather as a loving community to encourage and comfort one another.
We gather as a diverse community to support each other in our search for spiritual truth.
We gather as a service community to live our beliefs through action and care for our world.
Good morning! Today we will, as much as is possible virtually, joyously celebrate our graduating seniors with a rite of passage called bridging that many Unitarian Universalist congregations are doing this time of year. I enthusiastically represent the community here at First Parish in Needham as we add our congratulations to those of the families and friends of our graduating seniors, even though we have to admit we're a little sad to be not seeing them as often. We are proud of you and we thank you for all your contributions to the life of our congregation. While we hold all of our graduates in our hearts today who are part of our extended community, including Henry, Finn, and Richard, we will honor our two graduates who have chosen to participate, Katie Grealish and Logan Packard. Andrea and Kevin, Jen and Matt, as the parents of these youth, you have been blessed with the privilege of raising these impressive young people and providing them with a strong foundation of love that will take each of them far along in their life's journey. You have also entrusted this church community with the task of supporting you and them. We thank you for sharing Katie and Logan with us for these many years. As are you, we are amazed by them. Katie and Logan, so many people in this community have been blessed by your presence in our lives. Bringing us your talents and your gifts, you have stepped into church life in visible and meaningful ways. You are creative, smart, kind, thoughtful, committed, and compassionate. I'm sure I speak for many when I say that I'm very grateful to have met and known both of you. Since we can't do our bridging ritual of having you walk down the ceremonial path in our sanctuary, representing the journey from childhood to emerging adulthood, we will have to do it for you in story. Katie, you went through the First Parish RE program, including OWL and Coming of Age. You liked running around the church during PYC get-togethers. And later you represented the type of teen who isn't as well known because you stayed connected to the church in quieter ways, but equally important. Instead of joining our youth group, you helped in our nursery and even taught a dance class for our elementary-aged kids this year. After assisting you, Sally remarked that you brought humor and fun to the discipline of dance, leading the kids through leaps and spins and keeping them laughing as we all learn together. Thank you for all that. As you are graduating from Westwood High School and attending Colorado College in the fall, we wish you nothing but the best. And Logan, what can I say? You started out as this adorable blonde toddler running about, and at some point before the time I arrived at First Parish, you became known as part of the Packard Four, with others wishing they could be like Ryan and join your tribe. You seemed quiet to me, and yet somehow my first youth group planning meeting had more requests for activities involving land sharks and sacrificial rituals of you than typical plans. Upon getting to know you better, there is clear depth, intelligence, reliability, work ethic, and compassion underneath your humor and your extended family. You have been a devoted member of the youth group and you will be missed. As you graduate from Needham High School and head off to study biomedical engineering at Boston University, we wish you well, and we hope you avoid all of those land sharks in the big city. Katie and Logan, even though you didn't get to go through the literal ceremonial bridge in the sanctuary at First Parish, know that the spirit of this ritual is a bridge eternal. You will always have a connection to this community. Our commitment to you does not end merely because you begin a new journey in life, and you will always be welcome home here. You are a part of this community and shall be as long as you desire it. One of our recent bridgers shares his words of affirmation for you. Here is Ryan Kerrigan.
Hey Logan and Katie, congratulations to both of you guys on reaching this milestone. I wish I could be congratulating you in person, but my advice for you is to focus on what is happening around you and figure out what you want to do for the future. I know both of you are intelligent and caring and will do great things. Stay safe, stay healthy. Bye-bye.
Katie and Logan, we express our pride in you, in who you are and in how you engage with the world. We celebrate your presence among us and in the world. May you serve as a reminder to all of us that we are indeed raising young people who will carry the torch of our liberal faith throughout their lives. When we dedicate a child, we give that child a long-stemmed rose with the thorns removed. The rosebud is a symbol of life just beginning, a life unfolding just as the rosebud does, petal by petal. We remove those thorns, hoping, for a while at least, that we can protect a child from all that can hurt in life. Now, as high school graduates, you are at the other end of childhood, and it seems fitting once again to give you a rose. This rose is symbolic, and you will each receive a silk rose as part of your congratulatory gift that you will be receiving this week. This time, though, the rose is not the tight bud of a babe, but a rose opening to its fullness, symbolic of the vibrant adult you are blossoming into. And this time, the thorns are there. Not because we intentionally want to inflict pain upon you, but because we can no longer protect you from the hurts and disappointments of adulthood. More so than any other bridging class, you two are experiencing those challenges and disappointments right now. As young adults, you may not need our protection in the same ways that you once did when you were little children. However, we will always be here to journey with you, to listen to you, to support you in the ways that this community is able. We close with a blessing on this special day adapted from Unitarian Universalist youth leader Jane Turin. Your time is now. Today we applaud you for all you have been, for all you are now, for all you will be. Katie and Logan, we are very proud of you, and we applaud your successes as we send you off with our very best wishes. Congratulations.
We've come to the time in our service when we share joys and concerns that are very close to our hearts and lives. In this new format, joys and sorrows are emailed to me by Thursday night, and I will share them aloud and light candles for you all. As we are making the link to our virtual Sunday services public and open to all visitors, be aware that we cannot guarantee that news shared in Joys and Concerns will stay within the First Parish community. So if you wish to share in a more private setting, I encourage you to reach out to me or to our Pastoral Care Associate of the Week, whose name is included in your emailed order of service. Let us now hear the joys and sorrows of our community. A Candle of Joy from Roberta A. for her older daughter Dominique, who graduated with her Master's of Social Work from Columbia University a few weeks ago, and who passed her social work licensing test on Wednesday. A Candle of Sorrow in honor of Jack Davis, a beloved longtime member of this congregation, who died on Wednesday, June 3rd, at age 87. He and his wife Linda are so interwoven into the lives of this community. I know that losing Jack is a deep sorrow for many here. May he be at peace, and may we continue to hold him and his family in the light. A Candle of Hope for those who are pushing for change, marching in the streets on behalf of George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery, Tony McDade, and all the many unnamed victims of anti-Black violence. May this upheaval lead to lasting change, and may the inherent dignity and worth of every human being become our nation's new measure of justice. And I light one final candle for all the joys and sorrows that are still carried quietly in our hearts. During this time of physical separation, let us not forget that we are still deeply interconnected and bound together through mutual love, support, and commitment to each other.
On the first day of our service trip, we learned this chant from Sam Wilson about social justice. Here it is now.
And we're gonna stomp out injustice. We reach down to the grassroots for power, reach up to the sky for inspiration, sway in the winds of change, stomp out injustice.
In case you missed it, here it is again with the words on the screen.
And we're gonna stomp out injustice. We reach down to the grassroots for power, reach up to the sky for inspiration, sway in the winds of change, stomp out injustice.
Okay, kids, we all did it. Now it's your turn. The video will play twice.
And we're gonna stomp out injustice. We reach down to the grassroots for power, reach up to the sky for inspiration, sway in the winds of change, stomp out injustice. And we're gonna stomp out injustice. We reach down to the grassroots for power, reach up to the sky for inspiration, sway in the winds of change, stomp out injustice.
This congregation has been supported by the volunteer time and treasure of its members and friends since its founding in 1711. In those 300 years, this community has seen some tough times, but we're still here. This is the time in our service when we, the modern keepers of this church, offer to give what we can to build and sustain the world we envision. This Sunday, we the youth got to choose the organization we will share our collection with. To honor the lessons we learned in Arizona, we will give half of today's collection to No More Deaths. No More Deaths is a nonprofit humanitarian organization based in southern Arizona whose mission is to end death and suffering in the Mexico-U.S. borderlands. When we were in Arizona, we worked with this organization and went on a water drop where we carried food and gallons of water to designated areas in the desert left for migrants. The organization also runs a legal clinic to help those applying for status or facing deportation. To donate to today's offering, you can use our Text to Give program, or you can mail a check made out to First Parish in Needham to our address at 23 Dedham Ave, Needham, MA 02492. Our Text to Give number is 73256. That is 73256. Instructions on how to text to give should be on your screen, or you can find them in your emailed order of service. Whether you are using a check or your phone, please make sure you specify whether your donation is intended for today's plate collection or if it should be counted toward your pledge for either this or next church year. Thank you for everything you were able to give to help support and sustain this congregation and the vital work of our community partners. Please take these next few moments to give what you can and know it will be greatly received.
Ain't got a soapbox I can stand upon, but God gave me a stage, a guitar and a song. My daddy told me, son, don't you get involved in politics, religions, other people's quarrels. I'll paint the picture, let me set the scene. I know when I have children they will know what it means, and I'll pass on the things my family's given to me. Just love and understanding, positivity. We could change this whole world with a piano, add a bass, some guitar, grab a beat, and away we go. I'm just a boy with a one-man show. No university, no degree, but Lord knows everybody's talking about exponential growth and the stock market crashing in their portfolios, while I'll be sitting here with a song that I wrote saying love could change the world in a moment. But what do I know? Love can change the world in a moment. But what do I know? Love can change the world in a moment. But what do I know? Love can change the world in a moment.
On Sunday, February 16th, all 19 youth and 5 chaperones were up and ready to leave the church at 3 a.m. We arrived in Tucson at border length and jumped right in to learn about the struggles of immigrants. We woke up early at 6 a.m. to drive an hour and a half to see the border wall in Nogales. I met Manuel, who shared much about the struggles and tragedies happening as folks tried to migrate, and about the history of the wall there that split a city in half, separating families. We saw a mural of a 16-year-old Mexican boy shot by a Border Patrol officer, and many crosses left in memory of folks who died at the border. On Tuesday, we met Lois from No More Deaths, who taught us about Operation Streamline and prepared us to visit the courthouse to bear witness to how oppressive our legal system is in treating these humans like they are mere cogs in an assembly line. Lois moved from New England to Arizona to commit to this work, and at 85, her dedication is so impressive. On Wednesday, we met some local men who worked together to create flowers and bullets, and heard their stories of working within the neighborhood to promote organic farming and creatively sharing resources. They were very inspiring, and we spent the day helping them at their farm. On Thursday, we had a big adventure for our last day as we went on our desert hike to do some water dropping. And it wasn't nearly as easy as it sounds. Desert doesn't look on television where it's just long stretches of beach-like sand and a few cacti. We had to wear closed-toed shoes and long pants to protect ourselves from these spiky plants and cacti. Later that afternoon, we met a woman who was seeking asylum after fleeing gang violence in Honduras. We don't really recognize the horrible violence that some people deal with every day of their lives. On Friday, we wrapped up our time in Arizona with reflections about our experiences and how we might carry forward our lessons. On our way to the airport, we stopped at Gates Pass, which is a local tourist favorite in Tucson because it offers a stunning aerial view of the desert. It looks beautiful, but even a short time there reminded us of how extremely hard and dangerous it is to walk in the desert.
Arizona opened my eyes to issues that I cannot see in my hometown. I learned that things are not always as they seem in the media, news, and in movies, and that we cannot always trust what people are telling us. It was interesting to hear stories of immigrants, to see the border firsthand, and to see how the area is militarized to keep people out. I hope back home I can inform my friends and family to fully educate them, and that I can continue to learn more about this problem.
The trip flew by. It felt like just 3 days. I think it's particularly helpful that we learned about a more systematic U.S. issue, rather than an issue more local to any particular city or county, because it both affects more people and we can enact more change from home. At the beginning, I knew barely anything about immigration into the U.S., especially over the southern border. Now I know more about how our attempts at deterrence and our insane illegal immigration process force immigrants to risk their lives and go through hell to try and save the lives of their loved ones. I also now know why some immigrants have to leave their homes because of the unbelievable violence happening there. Going into the parts of the U.S. that we didn't hear about in school, we learned about how the U.S. played a part in creating the dire situations facing these people, who are left with no safer choice than to try and emigrate, and how the U.S. has a vast repeating history of villainizing people into scapegoats to avoid dealing with our own problems. We need to educate U.S. citizens and commit to doing better.
After going on the trip, I feel like I've definitely gained a deeper understanding of what it means to be an immigrant and the extensive process that they have to go through. I never fully acknowledged how challenging it would be if I had to travel through the desert for 15 days with no water or food just in an attempt to come to the U.S. I learned that these people potentially have to wait up to 40 years to become documented. Therefore, I now understand why some people do decide to come on their own through the desert. After hearing so many tragic stories of all the things people have to do to come to our country, I definitely will no longer take simple things such as water or food for granted. Another important lesson I've gained is to treat everyone the same because you have no idea what they may have had to do to get where they are and the struggles they may have endured. Where many of us have done ultimately nothing to be citizens here, there are definitely a group of people who have struggled for a long time to have the opportunity to live in the U.S.
One of the most powerful parts of any trip is getting to talk to people who live in the place. It's what I always remember about the other trips I've been on and what I always share with other people upon my return. For me, my favorite conversation on our Arizona trip was with Manuel and Tonya at the border. She talked about how families used to eat together on either side of the border and pass food through the gaps in the wall. Then, Border Patrol put up a fence with extremely small holes so that they could no longer pass food through. Her explanation stood in direct contrast to the narrative we are so often told about the southern border, that it is a gateway for drugs and guns into our country. It was a really good reminder to myself that when we're not close to an issue or the people affected, the reality of the situation is lost, and that being informed from watching the news or reading the newspaper isn't the same as listening to what someone's life is like. I knew the wall was bad, but I didn't realize how destructive the southern border had been to so many people for so long.
Bringing the lessons learned beyond one service trip to Arizona, I share with you excerpts from the British Somali poet Warsan Shire's poem, Home. This provocative poem gives a voice to the experiences of refugees. We are sharing only a small part of the poem because the other excerpts are quite alarming and not appropriate to be heard by the children who sometimes join us for the worship. No one leaves home unless home is the mouth of a shark. You only run for the border when you see the whole city running as well, your neighbors running faster than you. You have to understand that no one puts their children in a boat unless the water is safer than the lands. No one burns their palms under trains, beneath carriages. No one spends days and nights in the stomach of a truck, feeding on newspaper unless the miles traveled means something more than a journey. I want to go home, but home is the mouth of a shark. Home is the barrel of a gun, and no one would leave home unless home chased you to the shore, unless home told you to quicken your legs, leave your clothes behind, crawl through the desert, wade through the oceans, drown, save, be hunger, beg, forget pride, your survival is more important. No one leaves home until home is a sweaty voice in your ear saying, leave, run away from me now. I don't know what I've become, but I know that anywhere is safer than here.
I speak for all of the chaperones, Sally Fritchie, Will Rico, Molly Kerrigan, Ashley Stone, and myself, when I say that the best part of the service trip, and any social justice work here at First Parish, is our community spirit. On the service trip to Arizona, like in life, particularly life in these past few months, unexpected twists and turns happen, and often things are not as we expected. Sometimes we may find ourselves in uncomfortable or upsetting situations. When that happened during the Arizona trip, our youth rose to the occasion with compassion and perseverance and sometimes humor to support each other. Each of the chaperones said many times during the Arizona trip, and last year's chaperones during the West Virginia trip, how incredibly impressed they were with the work ethic, dedication, creativity, positive energy, and ability to make the work fun by our youth here at First Parish. These teens of First Parish remind me that the best thing I can do in my life to be able to survive any challenge is to keep surrounding myself with amazing people. With this COVID-19 pandemic and countrywide protests in response to the systematic racism in our country and killings of innocent Black people, these times are very scary and unsettling. And the timing could not be better to be reminded by our youth that we have to love each other through it all. We have to persevere through the hard parts, but also find some fun just like they did and do. In different ways, we individually make things a little bit better every day simply by showing up with our Unitarian Universalist thinking minds, loving hearts, and helping hands. One by one, hour by hour, we do make a difference together. Thank you for being you, and thank you for being you.
One of our closing reflections was using a Venn diagram to consider how our personal deep gladness could intersect with the world's deep hunger or sadness, to guide our child's light for how to respond with inspired social action. Let's practice today after hearing about the lessons we learned and shared today about immigration. What is your deep gladness or gratitude? Some examples shared in Arizona were memories of making others happy, time with friends and family, travel, hugs, sports, my dogs, video games, and favorite foods. We will give you a moment to ponder your response. Feel free to include it in the chat. What might the world's deep hunger be? Some examples shared in Arizona were the climate change, food insecurity, hunger, poverty, violence, racism, depression. We will give you a moment to ponder your response. Once again, you can feel free to include it in the chat. What is your guiding light, or otherwise known as your chalogram? What speaks to the overlapping of the world's deep hunger and your deep gladness? Some examples shared in Arizona were acting with my friends to raise awareness of discrimination, give food I eat to the people who need it, teaching people about issues, friendship and solidarity, bringing different people together, and climate strikes. We'll give you a moment to ponder your response. Once again, you can feel free to include it in the chat. Amen and blessed be.
We have heard the story told that the composer of our hymn number 346, Come Sing a Song With Me, Carolyn McDade, thought her song was too sing-songy and sweet until she sang it with the women of the MCI prison in Framingham. Their struggle brought deeper meaning to inviting each other to sing together and walk in rain together. After the inspirations and lessons our youth shared today, who may you want to invite to sing with you? Please join us in singing hymn number 346, Come Sing a Song With Me. The words are in your emailed order of service and on the screen.
That I might know your mind, and I'll bring you hope when hope is hard to find, and I'll sing a song of love and the rose in the winter time. Come share a rose with me, come share a rose with me, come share a rose with me, that I might know your mind. And I'll bring you hope when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a song of love and a rose in the winter time.
As we extinguish our chalice, please join me in reading the words printed in your order of service from Unitarian Universalist Minister Reverend Elizabeth Sell Jones. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, nor the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
For our closing words, we share with you excerpts from Calvin Dame's Remembering Our Virtues, Spirit of life and love, which moves through us and through all the world. May we, this day, be grateful for the gift of life which is ours, remembering today and always that the life we have and hold is a mystery and precious. May we, this day, be reminded of the responsibilities we carry, not so that we are intimidated or overwhelmed, but so that we may be true to them, so that we may be faithful in carrying them forward. May we this day be inspired, be filled with new breath, be filled with new enthusiasm, be ready to see fresh opportunity, new perspectives, unnoticed avenues for action and resolution. And may we this day remember those virtues that bless our lives and bless the lives of others, the virtues of caring and concern, the virtues of honesty and respect, the virtues of charity and patience. Amen, and blessed be.
a dark desert highway, cool wind in my hair, warm smell of colitas rising up through the air. Up ahead in the distance, I saw a shimmering light. My head grew heavy and my sight grew dim. I had to stop for the night. There she stood in the doorway. I heard the mission bell, and I was thinking to myself, this could be heaven or this could be hell. Then she lit up a candle and she showed me the way. There were voices down the corridor. I thought I heard them say, welcome to the Hotel California. Such a lovely place, such a lovely place. Plenty of room at the Hotel California. Any time of year, you can find it here. Her mind is Tiffany twisted. She got the Mercedes Benz. She got a lot of pretty boys that she calls friends. How they dance in the courtyard, sweet summer sweat. Some dance to remember, some dance to forget. So I called up the captain, please bring me my wine. He said that we haven't had that spirit here since 1969. And still those voices are calling from far away. Wake you up in the middle of the night just to hear them say, welcome to the Hotel California. Such a lovely place, such a lovely place. They're living it up at the Hotel California. What a nice surprise. Bring your alibis. Mirrors on the ceiling, the pink champagne on ice. And she said, we're all just prisoners here of our own device. In the master's chambers, they gathered for the feast. They stab it with their steely knives, but they just can't kill the beast. The last thing I remember, I was running for the door. I had to find the passage back to the place I was before. Relax, said the nightman, we are programmed to sleep. You can check out anytime you like, but you can never leave.
you.